1.2, going over the content. In this content unit, you will be reading about President Trump's newest policy idea to be able to hold children indefinitely. You'll watch a short film about children of immigrants and what was sacrificed so they could be Americans. The infographic is a brief overview of the history of policies that affected immigration. And lastly, you will hear a narrative in the form of a podcast from a teenager trying to immigrate to the US. And we're keeping in mind our objectives the whole time. So the first one was this article. Do you think the original law passed in 1997 that limited the days that children could be held in detention center? Why do you think the original law was passed in 1997 that limited the amount of days children could be held in a detention center to 20 days? Who would benefit from separating children from their families? What effects do you think would being held in a detention center indefinitely have on a teen? And it was very much, you all had very similar sentiments that it definitely would not be great for a teen to be held indefinitely. I think somebody Max went into very specific details. Everybody said it would definitely have a negative outcome, but I want to definitely appreciate what was written here. I think housing a teen indefinitely until their trial or hearing, which could take months or years, can harm their mental health, is likely they wouldn't be getting sleep, nutrients, social interaction, education, and general care that they need to fully mature. So a lot of people realize that this has severe effects on a teen's mentality. And the number one reason that kept coming up over and over again, that's why Trump might want to hold children, because it's a scare tactic, right? If you know that your kids can be held indefinitely by the US government, you're less likely to send them here. So that was the kind of overall feeling from the class, which was definitely, so it was 60 days. So that is 60 days from August 21st. So we will be in class. That will be almost the last day of the semester when this goes into effect. So we'll get to see the repercussions, or if this does in fact deter people from coming to the US. Second thing I asked you to watch was a video of stories from kids whose parents came here as immigrants. What are two things that were mentioned in the video that families sacrificed to immigrate to the US? And do you think benefits of being a US citizen are worth the sacrifices? Why or why not? So there was very different answers for the things that people sacrificed. They sacrificed family events, seeing their family and friends forever. You guys definitely understood how much immigrants sacrifice to be with their family. And there was an overall feeling of, it kind of depends. You know, it depends what country they're immigrating from. Is America better? Is America not better? But there was very much not a yes, it is better answer. It depended on where people came from. The infographic gave us a little more political background on what was going on. The first immigrants to come here, the seconds, and why I chose this infographic was mainly the prompt that you got with it. And the prompt that you got with it had you look up a supporting detail. Why did I have you guys look up a supporting detail aside from the fact that I want to just make your lives terribly hard? Annabella, why would I ask you guys for a supporting detail? You don't know? So if I write up here, the sky is purple, write me a poem about why the sky is purple. Is the sky purple? No. So things with political connotations, especially immigration. So I am Native American. My family's from New Mexico. My great-grandparents are from New Mexico. My great-great-grandparents are from New Mexico. I didn't cross borders. So is that going to affect how I feel about immigration? Yeah. So I want you guys to be able to double check things. If something I write on the board or something that's in your content you don't agree with, you need to be able, regardless of what teacher you have, you need to be able to question things. Always question things and support your opinions. Their opinions, their thoughts. The main reason I have you do these exercises is to get you in the habit of thinking. And this had some really great feedback, and they had some great links on here. The Chinese Exclusion Act. The Chinese Exclusion Act is the only act America has passed based on race that says you cannot be a citizen. So if you guys actually click through these and you take the time to read what your fellow students are saying, it also kind of helps you get an idea of how this may impact somebody, because you don't know what their lens is. Just like my lens is my identity, everybody in the class has different lenses. And you're seeing this from all the sections. So I like this platform because you guys get to see where everybody's coming from and their ideas. Lastly was this long 30-minute PBS podcast, which I found it was really amazing. And the reason I had you do this was because this isn't only a history class, it's an English class. This was a narrative, and I actually really liked the feedback on it. You're able to hear the emotion and somewhat live through the audio rather than reading the stories of the general public's view of teens, such as them being negative people. But in reality, it's the opposite for many of them. So that's true. So when you guys write your narrative, which you will at the end of this unit, narratives are supposed to evoke emotions. You're supposed to feel something from the narratives. It's very different. If you listen to this versus reading the infographic is just numbers. But when you hear somebody's story, we watched a movie last week. Juanita, how was that movie? Was it a different impact-wise? So you got to see how it played out in the individual. They're also using individual stories and narratives in public policy, because it's different when you say 3,000 teens will be affected by this immigration policy, as opposed to hearing one boy's journey here. So that's the purpose of the narrative. It has a plot, it has characters, a beginning, a middle, an end. Hopefully that wasn't that kid's end. But when we get to writing our narratives, you're going to see the difference in impact a narrative makes versus an infographic. And now we're moving on to your activity for this class, which was based on the feedback that we got. A lot of the feedback said when you come to America, everybody can be American. There was a general consensus that everybody had this feeling once you immigrate to America, everyone can become American. But I think there's a different perspective on that as well. So what you're doing for your in-class activity today is you're watching or you're reading, you can read the song lyrics or you can watch the music videos. The first one, they're both entitled This Land. One is by Woody Guthrie, that was written in the 1940s, and the other one is by Gary Clark Jr., that was written this or performed this year and came out this year. It's about this land. It's about America. And the questions are, does this artist feel like they're American? Why or why not? Use at least two supporting details. Describe the singer's experience in America. Is it positive or negative? Again, using two supporting details from the song. And then you're going to go on to Google Slides, which is attached to your form, and you're going to find two different things. So let's say something, let's use the example. Let me see, I have one on here for you guys. And this can be in the form, the examples that you use can be in the form of art, it can be in the form of music, it can be in the form of pictures. But all I want to see is that you can show me two different experiences. So being pulled over by the cops. The possibility that everybody drives, you can get pulled over by the cops, right? But does everybody have the same experience when they get pulled over by the cops? No. So does that mean so what you're going to do is you're going to present one experience and then two different ways it can play out. So being pulled over by the cops, race can matter, gender can matter, how you dress can matter, tattoos can matter. So you can do this based on gender, race, religion, sexual preference, however it is that America's experienced in a different lens than the dominant culture. Cool? All right, and that is lesson 1.2.